Sir Isaac Newton was called mad. Albert Einstein was called mad. Nikola Tesla was called mad. Marie Curie was called mad. And we call them mad scientists. But why? Why were all these brilliant scientists called mad? Were they all crazy? Well, in a way they were. But that's not why they were called mad. They were called mad because of the way they think. You see, thinking is hardwired into us. We think in boxes. We categorize things. We like to take things apart and examine their parts. And then we use our past experiences to predict what might happen in the future. This is how our brains work. But scientists don't think like this. Scientists look at the world around them and ask, how does this work? Why is it like this? What if it wasn't like this? So instead of accepting things as they are, scientists question everything. And that can be unsettling for people who think in conventional ways. People who don't question things. Isaac Newton questioned why an apple fell from a tree. That led him to discover gravity. Albert Einstein questioned why time would be different for someone moving very fast. That led him to develop his theory of special relativity. Nikola Tesla questioned why electricity couldn't flow through a single wire. That led him to invent alternating current. Marie Curie questioned why certain elements seemed to glow. That led her to discover radioactivity. And all these scientists changed the world with their discoveries. But the way they think is considered strange, even mad. Here's why. When we experience something new, our brains categorize it. We file it under the appropriate heading so we know how to react in the future. A dog is a mammal. Dogs bark. So when we see a dog, we expect it to bark. But scientists don't do this. When Isaac Newton saw an apple fall from a tree, he didn't think apples fall from trees. He thought, how come apples fall from trees? And that led him to think, how do objects move? How do they attract each other? How do they repel each other? And that led him to develop his law of universal gravitation. When Albert Einstein was 4 years old, his father brought home a spinning top. Young Albert was fascinated by the spinning top. He asked his father, how does it stay upright? His father had no answer. So young Albert decided to find out for himself. He stacked up some books and began whacking the top as it spun around. And that led him to discover that time is relative. When Nikola Tesla was a boy, he noticed that his hands were always shaking. He asked his mother, why are my hands shaking? His mother had no answer. So young Nikola decided to find out for himself. He put his hands inside a metal tube and closed one end with a rubber stopper. When he shook the tube, his hands stopped shaking. Nikola discovered that shaking is relative, and that led him to invent alternating current. And when Marie Curie was a student, she noticed that certain elements seemed to glow. She asked her professors, why do these elements glow? Her professors had no answer. So Marie decided to find out for herself. She put some water on a metal plate and placed various elements on the water. She noticed that the more radioactive an element was, the more the water around it glowed. Marie discovered that radioactivity is relative, and that led her to discover two new elements, polonium and radium. You see, scientists don't think in terms of what is or what has been. They think in terms of what could be. And that's why all scientists are called mad. They're mad because they don't accept things as they are. They want to know why. And once they find out why, they're not satisfied. They want to know what if gravity didn't exist? What if time wasn't relative? What if shaking wasn't relative? What if radioactivity wasn't relative? And they keep asking these what-if questions until they figure out how to change the world. So next time you hear someone asking, why is it like this? Don't tell them it's just the way things are. Tell them they just might be the next mad scientist. That's all for now. See you next time.